Hey, good evening, everyone. And if that intro music doesn't get your blood pumping, you need to check your pulse. Welcome to our Tuesday night edition of our roundtable and town hall with the Illinois Freedom Caucus, live and hopefully in demand, where we have a relentless pursuit of truth, logic, and common sense. And our lead truth teller tonight, the chairman of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, Chris Miller. Welcome to the event tonight, Chris.
Well, thank you, Brad, and thank you for once again doing all the technical things that need to happen to get us live so we can continue, as you said, to proclaim truth, logic, and common sense across the fruited plains of Illinois. I know that we're here to discuss a couple of really important topics this evening, the Safety Act and what's going on with the library system. And, you know, it's one of the things it's interesting whenever you make the Gutfeld show. I think you're right, but unfortunately it was on the wrong side of the issue because they were making fun of our governor and the Democrat lawmakers that are doing everything that they can do to destroy safety and security here in Illinois. But these are important topics, and looking forward to peeling the layers of the onion off, so to say.
Excellent, Chris. Excellent. Macon County Representative all the way to McLean County, Representative Dan Calkins. What's going on, Dan?
Oh, it's great to be with everybody again this evening. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been busy in the district, working, doing stuff. Had a big meeting with township officials in DeWitt County last night, and a great dinner. We're getting out. Fairs starting up in McLean County today. We'll be up there. But Tonight, we're going to talk about two topics that I think everyone in Illinois should be paying attention to. So let's get right to it.
Excellent. And with that, we're going to go to the southwest corner of the state, down where the home of Popeye, I believe, David Freeze, Representative Freeze. Welcome to the show. What's going on in your neighborhood?
Well, so we've actually got the Monroe County Fair going on this week. I will be there this evening, and it'll be going on all week. We have the truck and antique tractor show or pull that's going on tonight, so it should be a lot of fun. Other than that, obviously the Safety Act is a big concern for our state's attorneys and law enforcement, and they're in the process of trying to figure out how they're going to work through this, since only the really bad people, the murderers, are going to have to put up a cash bail. Everybody else is going to get fingerprinted, their picture taken, and released out into the general population again. It's really, really unfortunate what's happening to our state right now.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a little more detail. And also, we'll welcome tonight to our state director, Colin Mosley. Welcome, Colin. Any words of wisdom you can share tonight?
Hey, Brad, good to be here. No words of wisdom beyond the wisdom that's already been expelled. Just happy to be here, and like David, also enjoying the Clay County Fair here this week.
Excellent. Hey, guys, let's bring up our slide set and get right into this presentation. Of course, this is our live stream town hall. And with that, here is the Safety Act. And we put together, our staff has put together a really nice timeline. And guys, this bill was introduced about 3:15, 3:30, just hours away from the General Assembly of that cycle adjourning and the new one being sworn in the wee hours after working through the night. And this bill passed out, very divided on the vote, 760 pages, passed out about 4:30 a.m., 5 o'clock. They adjourned, we adjourned, and then came back in a few hours later to pick it up in the House. Gentlemen, 4 different trailer bills. I think the most recent one last fall, 330 pages. So there's been 4 fixes, multiple pages, maybe equal to the size of the original bill. And then there's been a Supreme Court decision. You guys, anything you want to add, gentlemen, to this slide here about the timeline?
I think we voted no.
Well, it's just really unfortunate. I mean, you've got this monumental legislation, and it inevitably seems to happen. It always comes in after midnight, 3 or 4 in the morning, zero to, no debate. When these types of pieces of legislation, these should have, hours or days worth of debate. Instead, it gets dropped on the floor. In my understanding, I wasn't there at the time. They actually cut debate off, cut people off. It's sad because this affects everybody in our state.
Right.
I think one thing that they were really on the right track when they had these 4 amendments. And like you've heard me say before, all we need is one more amendment, and that's amendment number 5 to throw all of this in the garbage and leave it alone and move on to something that's significantly going to positively impact the citizens of Illinois.
Yeah.
Well, there are some things in this bill, in the law now, that can be helpful. Body cameras, police should wear body cameras. It protects the officers, it protects the department, and it protects the people that interact with our police force. The problem is that when you mandate that and don't put the money behind it, it creates severe problems, out in our counties, our rural communities. They don't have the funds, and it's not just the buying of the body camera. It's the storage of all the data that comes off of them that is terrible. The other part is that a lot of these small rural communities don't have high-speed internet. They didn't back then. We're now connecting a lot of them, and it may be a year or two where they'll have the ability to upload this information, where it won't take days and days and days to upload all of the video. I think we could have supported body cameras for police officers if they'd had funding attached to it. I think we would have been happy to support money for mental health for our law enforcement. I think money for recruitment and retention for our law enforcement officers. There are a lot of things that we could have agreed upon, but they crammed this bill down with all this really bad parts of it that have led to nothing but problems everywhere it's been tried.
Right. So they jam these 700-800 multiple page bills through late at night or in the wee hours of the early morning, mandate after mandate, stripping out local control. The list just goes on and on. Not well thought out. And when it comes to execution, it's even less well thought out. There's just not a good plan for some of this stuff. Hey guys, let's bring the slide back. So it talks about here, the lawsuits followed late last fall or in December, went immediately to the Supreme Court. And I'm going to bring up the next slide here. Talks about the ruling, the decision that was handed down out of the Illinois Supreme Court. What was it, David? Last Tuesday morning, I think it was, a week ago, we got this decision.
Yeah. It's actually a little bit surprised by it. Maybe we shouldn't have been, given the fact that our governor generously contributed to Supreme Court justices' campaign contributions. So it came down, and now we have zero cash bail.
Right.
Well, Brad, I want to jump in here real quick and say that some of the lies that were told surrounding all of this are just pretty catastrophic. The number of offenders that we are going to have let out on day one of some of this pretrial detention stuff, it's just ridiculous. I talked to a county jail this week that said I may as well put a revolving door in the county jail because that's what's going to happen. You're going to have people who come in on crimes, and the list of crimes that are no longer detainable, there's some serious crimes on there. I think second-degree murder is even on the list of not detainable anymore. You're talking about, I think, carjackings and certain offenses that are pretty serious, no longer detainable. So you're going to have people, skipping court. You're going to have warrants out for them. You're putting people out there looking for these criminals. It's just, this is anything but safety.
Exactly.
Here's one of the things that they haven't talked about is our towns that are border communities with other states now. Bad guys know in other states what's happening in our state, and they're going to come across our border and commit crimes in the state of Illinois. And even if they get caught, now they're going to get processed, photographed, and they'll be back on the street, or they'll run across to Missouri, and they'll never come back to our state for the original crime.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then there's another component to this, the humanitarian component. We talk about it here. You get someone that's arrested for a drug crime and they're addicted, they're on drugs. If we're currently able to hold those people in jail and get them treatment, get them out of the drug scene, get them where they can detox, get them where they can get some help, and separate them from that lifestyle that is really led them to that place. That's no longer going to be an issue. We're not going to be able to do that, and we're going to lose more people because they're going to go back on the street, and they're going to get right back into that lifestyle. And unfortunately, we're seeing fentanyl in these drugs, and we're going to lose people that we could have saved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was it? It basically pulls back the TRO, the temporary restraining order, or and so it goes into effect. Is it September 18th? Is when the full effect of this law goes in? Is that right, David?
Yeah, I believe they had 60 days from the date the court opinion came out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any closing thoughts before we go to the next slide?
My closing thought is if we don't see this again in veto session, I'll be very surprised.
Right.
Oh, we won't. No, the Democrats are, they're all puffed up now that they got the Supreme Court decision. And they're of no mind now to revisit this topic. I don't think we'll see it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
It's
going to be interesting. Yep.
All
right, here's our next slide. Colin, I'm going to let you set this up.
Sure. So a recent thing that's taken place here we've discovered is this issue with the American Library Association. So some background on that is the American Library Association is a group that a lot of states belong to. A lot of public libraries belong to it as affiliates. There's several organizations affiliated with it. And it was discovered by, for me anyway, one of our State Freedom Caucus network members, that this association had elected an openly Marxist LGBTQIA plus president who was basically hell-bent on making that the direction of the association. So here we have an association that is giving sort of the sign-off on what books are published and endorsed by the American Library Association for school libraries, public libraries. You can draw a lot of the responsibility from this sexually explicit material and propaganda right back to them. So we are engaged as a State Freedom Caucus network and as the Illinois Freedom Caucus in pushing for our state library associations and our local libraries to withdraw their membership and support of this woke association, because there is no doubt that they are part of this indoctrination infrastructure that's attacking our children and the family unit. So that's where this is all kind of began.
Okay. Gentlemen, any comments?
Well, I know just some things that kind of stick out to me is that, there's if you look at this through the grid of scripture, it talks about where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained. And this is an example of the unrestrained in the Pritzker administration as well as our society. And it's important to have a plumb line. And I know that as a homeschooling father, I know that when we used a public library, we used that entity to encourage a love for reading, a love for learning. And we always try to put in front of our kids things that were age appropriate, because the books we read are silent teachers because they're filled with ideas. And so it's important that you put things that are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, and of a good report before them, because it's like the old computer language, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you put in your mind is eventually going to come out and is going to have an effect of the way you see the world. So it's important to put big ideas in the minds of our kids, and they don't need to be hypersexualized And I think one of the responsibilities that we have as adults is to protect our children and to make sure that the things that are made available to them are appropriate. And there's one thing that I know is these drag shows and all the things that they're trying to cram through the public library system is completely and totally inappropriate.
Exactly. Yeah. Any other thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, actually, so I go home at lunch. I have that privilege, and I was able to have lunch the other day, and President Biden was on there, and he was talking about the Republicans wanting to ban books, and that's anything but the truth. Like Chris said, it has to be age appropriate, and having children myself, there are things that I think are appropriate for them, and things that are not because of their life experiences and their age. I mean, there's a reason why we have ratings on movies, because you do not want a young child, seeing an R-rated movie. So, and again, I don't want books banned, but the books that are accessible to young children should be age appropriate. And why there is this obsession with pushing sexually explicit books on our younger generation is just beyond me. It puzzles me beyond belief.
Well, it may be managed decay, or worse than that, it just may be just a complete destruction of our founding principles and ways. I don't know. Some would just say it's just pure demonic, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. It seems like that they have more interest in raising the next generation of perverts than they do the next generation of patriots, unfortunately.
Right. Yep.
we ought to stitch that on a pillow.
Say it again.
I said you ought to stitch that on a pillow. Raising the next generation of perverts, not patriots. That's a pretty good tagline for the Democrat Party right there.
New T-shirts.
And Brad, something else about this real quick is we've also uncovered that, here in Illinois, we are very familiar with what racketeering schemes are. We've seen Mike Madigan accomplish that for years. Mm-hmm. And we've discovered that the ALA, as a trusted group for many years, has been essentially what it appears they have been endorsing these woke leftist authors' publications for the purpose of all of these libraries then purchasing ALA endorsed material. The authors get rich, the ALA gets rich, it's a racket, and our children lose.
Yeah, that's too bad. Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen, let's bring up our next slide. This is kind of where you find us. Go to IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org. And Dan, you're the treasurer of this organization. Should folks become involved in this, and what's become an honorary member? What's your thoughts? You have any thoughts on that about joining in our efforts?
Well, it's always good to have members to help support the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Yeah, obviously, no one in the caucus is paid except for our executive director, and he's paid by the State Freedom Caucus Foundation. Right. So anything and everything that you choose to donate to the Illinois Freedom Caucus goes directly to help us get out into the state, get around the state, put on these town hall meetings. I know, Colin, we've got a bunch of them already scheduled for the rest of this summer and early fall. It helps us do these slide presentations. So your support is very, very important to us, and also expands our audience. And so thank you all that have donated and joined our caucus as honorary members. I would encourage anybody listening tonight, if you want to help, this is a great way to be involved with our cause. So Illinois Freedom Caucus is, Brad, you want to put that the .org? Yeah, there it goes across the bottom.
And so before we let everybody go, I've got one last event, a slide here to bring up. And I think, Chris, this is going to be a great event in Effingham the end of September. Dinesh D'Souza coming back to Illinois after a 2-year. He was in Illinois September 11th, 2021, just 2 years ago, and he's coming back in September. And so I think this is going to be a great way. You can scan the QR code or go to IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org and buy your tickets online there. Gentlemen, any thoughts about this event?
Well, it's going to be a special event, and I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity to go to see any of Mr. D'Souza's films. The latest one, I think, was 2,000 Mules, and he's got another one coming out shortly after our event. But he's a very well-spoken, well-informed, knows what's going on in America from the ground up, and it will be a great evening of education and information, and you just don't want to miss this.
Right. So
$30 on your calendar.
I'm sorry, Chris, I walked over you there. Say it again.
No, I was going to say, make sure you put it on your calendar tonight.
Right. So you can get tickets now, right, Colin? They're readily available. Just go online. There's a Eventbrite link there, correct? $30 per person. There's some VIP tickets that allow you to meet Mr. D'Souza and get a photo, and then some private donor sponsorship stuff there for a dinner with Dinesh. That is very, very, very limited. And so if you want to take advantage of that, don't waste any time on that one. So this is going to be the event of the year to be to, and it really helps us a lot when you come out and support us in efforts like this.
Yeah, I know. I'm really looking forward to it. The man is brilliant. You know, you see him on TV, you get clips here and there on social media. Really smart man. I'm really looking forward to what he's got to say.
Right, exactly. Colin, any closing comments before we'll make a trip around the table here, and then we're going to close out?
I'm good.
Excellent. Dan?
Well, another good night for the Illinois Freedom Caucus here on a Tuesday evening. Good to get back with the group in the round table.
Yep.
I look forward to people in the 88th district. We're going to the McLean County Fair this week, so I look forward to seeing you up at the Republican tent. And we'll be getting together the caucus. Colin, where's our next road trip? We're coming up.
Well, we'll be at the state fair a couple of days, several of us, and then we're headed to Rockford and Rock Islands the next two.
There you go. So
yeah,
come
excellent.
Find us.
Excellent. Chris, any closing thoughts? I know you probably have 12 or 14, but limited.
One book of the Bible.
I think we lost Chris.
Uh-oh.
Hey, with that, I'm not sure if we lost Chris or what's going on. I'm sorry, Chris. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm here.
Okay.
No,
Right.
thank you, y'all, for turning back into Town Hall Tuesday. I know tomorrow is a monumental day. It's my 43rd anniversary. If anybody deserves a trophy, Mary might be up for that. But anyway, we'll look forward to seeing you at the Coles County Fair coming up next week, as well as the State Fair and these other events that we have coming. So thanks for tuning in this evening, and God bless.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. And we're going to head out for this evening, and we'll talk to you real soon. As always, we like you to share, like, follow, and subscribe to our content. That helps us overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords.